I think debt growth died in 2008, and all debt growth now is servicing of old debts. And population has been shrinking. So economies have been slow and productivity is low because of aging populations. We're just bringing AI and robots into the workforce. It's infinite humans. So GDP growth driven by productivity and population growth is what I think is on the horizon, which is what rescues this.
A global financial system and economy collapse worries alternative asset specialists. Gold and cryptocurrency supporters have forecast the fiat money system's collapse as the only way out of huge debt for decades. Many believe collapse is the only choice due to irresponsible government spending and dwindling tax collections. Global reset that will wipe out trillions and impoverish tens of millions. True Vision founder and CEO Raoul Pal claims that the collapse we are expecting and dreading happened in 2008 and that our post-bust financial system is gradually destroying everyone. Pal claims that the global economy came to a grinding halt in 2008 when the banking and real estate industries completely imploded due to the massive amount of leverage in the system. The global financial system's meltdown nearly ended the monetary system as we know it until central banks announced multiple quantitative easing rounds. Pal maintains that the world is not waiting to get it because it happened 16 years ago, and the burden of upholding this charade of stability and normally has been pushed to everyone through the annual 15% inflation tax that's stealthily robbing people blind and impoverishing the common person. In a recent interview with Bilyeu, Pal discusses the gloomy global economy, how the 2008 crisis changed everything, and the only way out. The famous macro analyst and former Goldman Sachs executive summarizes the problem, how we become debt slaves, and the only solution. Follow the channel, like this video, and enable post alerts for more.
Because they're going
in nominal terms.
Correct.
But in gold terms, a lot of these assets have to come down. Their real price has to come down.
So, I also believe that GDP growth equals productivity plus population plus debt growth. I think debt growth died in 2008, and all debt growth now is servicing of old debts. And population has been shrinking. So economies have been slow and productivity is low because of aging populations. We're just bringing AI and robots into the workforce. It's infinite humans. So GDP growth driven by productivity and population growth is what I think is on the horizon, which is what rescues this. But after what? 15% a year debasement of currency? You add 10 years of that and you've lost most of your money. So none of us disagree. We're all getting fucked. But it's how you're going to get fucked. Are you going to get fucked in one go because it all burns to the ground? Or are they going to fuck you so you don't really know you're being screwed, but you're just going to get angrier and angrier? That's what we're seeing. Politics has gone like this because everybody's so bloody angry because they can't figure out who's screwing them and they're blaming each other. What screwed them is there was too many old people and they borrowed too much money. Half agree with it and half hate it, and that's okay. If I'm right that AI plus robots is infinite productive units, and you see how fast it's coming, you literally are not capable of understanding what an economy looks like beyond 2030. That's the problem I've got here. I'm not concerned about the cliff of death, right, that we're going through. I found an asset that I can invest in, crypto, or I could buy technology, and it's offsetting the mess of the debasement, so I'm fine. What's harder is to say, what the hell does an economy mean after 2030 when you've got endless AI and robots and AGI? What is a company? What value do you provide in that world, or I provide? We sit there talking to people about it and thinking our way through it, but both you and I are developing AI tools of which we will have a digital Tom and a digital Raoul, and we don't even need to turn up to these, and they'll do a pretty good job. We're both working on these things, right? But are we going to be just replaced? The point being is when you go to like Nick Bostrom, who is the key thinker about this at Oxford University, who wrote the book, I can't remember the famous book about the whole kind of where the future's going. There's a group there, an economics group there, who share the same concerns as me. It's like, If this is right, you could double GDP in a year, global GDP, or a week. What do companies mean when AI? I have a theory that OpenAI is using AGI to build its own AI, which is why they're iterating so fast with, 500 people? It's fucking madness what they're doing. How fast they're iterating. I've never seen anything like it. Even Elon Musk is like, I've never seen anything like what's going on here. The more we have AI to build AI, to build businesses, the faster and faster this goes. So in answer to your question, the explosion could be the other way around. It might not be the economy imploding. It could be the economy exploding in a way that we don't even know how to deal with it. What do humans mean? What is our job? All of this stuff you and I have talked about. I actually worry about very different things. I don't worry about the economy going down the toilet because I know how they're dealing with that. They've kind of set the rule book. I can make money from that. That's okay. It's this other bit. That's the hard bit.
Raoul thinks that central bankers and other policymakers have the situation under control as long as they keep printing money and helping the markets. The economy is currently barely functioning and surviving on huge debts, but Raoul thinks it will keep going like this. However, Paul isn't ruling out the possibility of a final collapse that would bring everything down in an instant. According to the CEO of The Real Vision, the only job of the Fed and other central banks right now is to support the baby boomer investor complex because if it goes, the whole system will collapse again, leaving a very chaotic environment. Pal thinks that the boomers are at the heart of the problem because of their sheer numbers, so all the money printing is just an attempt to add another band-aid to a system that is already badly hurt, which ironically makes things worse, but central banks can't stop putting on band-aids. Pal's conclusion from all of these observations is that the system is broken and so are all of us. Here are some more clips from the talk.
And I realized I had the wrong mental model. And the moment I actually freed myself of my own biases and tried to understand what the fuck was going on and why were these assets going up, why was this happening, I then could see what was going on and what the big game was. And as soon as I could see that, it became a game I could make money from. And that I didn't have to be stuck wishing, and I've seen a lot of friends of mine do this, wishing that value stocks or small caps or whatever it is are going to work for them. And it's been 20 years now. And I've realized I had the wrong mental model. And the moment I changed it, I felt liberated because the world kind of makes sense. And I just urge all of us to just make sure that we don't get obsessed by our own mental models because they will change. And the world changes, and sometimes we can be dead wrong, and sometimes we can be dead right. I mean, I nailed the financial crisis, I nailed the European sovereign crisis, I nailed COVID, I nailed all of these things by being a big bear. And something I suddenly realized is, yeah, but assets kept going up. That whole period, I should have just been long and have made more money. And that made me ask the question of myself.
Buy the dip.
That asked the question is like that dumb meme of buy the dip. I wanted to go all the way across the bell curve, go to the middle bit, arguing it all, come to the other side and realize that buy the dip was actually the single best strategy to have ever existed over this period of financial mess. And I was stupid for not seeing it. So anyway, I'm just saying, be careful, because Tom, I can see that you're so allured by the black hole that is there. It kind of comes to you. And we have this conversation. I try and pull you back from the black hole and say, yeah, it's there, but there's an opportunity here. And you're like, but the black hole. Just be careful of the mental model, because it will massively restrict you in what you do, even how you think about life and how you interact with people around you. So it's something I've learnt the hard way, is we've all got to be a little more open to A, everyone's opinions, and B, our own biases and how ingrained they are. And have they become part of our personality just because it is? Or it's part of how we fear. Like, some people fear risk. So they become a certain way and present that to the world around them. Or some people have made money and then they're worried about losing it because their family didn't come from money. We're all set of our own human ridiculous biases. So we should just all, in all of these conversations, just step back a little bit.
Pal's idea of an exponential age is based on how quickly technology is changing, especially in the areas of robotics and artificial intelligence. According to Pal, the world's huge debt problem is made worse by an aging population and low productivity. We aren't producing enough to handle the huge amount of debt. This is where Pal thinks AI and robotics can help change the whole GDP formula by adding infinite productive units and exponentially increasing productivity. In his words, AI infinitely scales knowledge and robotics exponentially scales physical work. Pal believes that the productivity boost we will get from the exponential age will solve the debt crisis and lead to much higher GDP growth, preventing the need for a global collapse. Many of Pal's points in this video are hard to disagree with. The world is changing quickly, and we are speeding head-on toward the exponential age, where technology rules every sector. Investors who correctly position themselves now will be a key part of that future. What are your thoughts on Pal's exponential age thesis? Please leave your thoughts and observations below, and don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Everything helps with what YouTube does.